Good morning, Matt. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you coming in, taking your time to do this. We're talking about hostility, judgment transformed into kindness and goodness. So, can you remember a season when anger, frustration, disappointment made it difficult for you to see the good in others?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. So I'm in law enforcement, and the first couple of years, it was just this shiny new job, and that wore off after a couple of years. And I had a period of time where it was difficult to have the fun that I was having, but then being at a point where it was kind of difficult going to the same calls over and over, and kind of dealing with the same problems over and over. And I found myself needing to realize why I got into the profession, and that was to serve my community and to help others.
Okay. Are there certain kinds of people or situations that tend to bring out judgmental attitude?
I try not to initially judge people, like the don't base a book on its cover. But when I am, for example, I may get called to a check vehicle. Maybe in a parking lot, somebody says, there's somebody slumped over the wheel in a vehicle. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, there's another person drinking and driving, uh, somebody that has put other people in danger because they've got behind the wheel. And these are the things that are going through my head before I get to the scene. And then I get there, and the person's they are displaying signs of intoxication. However, once I start digging a little bit deeper, then I find that this person actually isn't under the influence of alcohol or drugs, that they're actually having some sort of medical episode. So, like maybe somebody that's diabetic. So, initially, I'm kind of judging the situation. I'm judging the person, and then once I start to get to know the situation, it's totally something different.
Have you ever received grace from someone you expected judgment from?
Yes, a lot of times when I show up to places, when people are in some sort of crisis, is I don't have that initial trust, especially if I haven't had a previous relationship with them before, and they say, you know what, I do know him, and I can trust him because he has helped me out, or he's helped my family out with these previous crises that he's kind of been a listening ear, and he's helped us before. But if I'm going into a situation where I don't have that rapport and that relationship, then I'm just a uniform, and I have to start to build that relationship with them.
What does kindness look like for you in your everyday life?
So I think for me, kindness is being there to listen to someone, to not uh, judge them, to care about them, to love them, and not have these. So if someone is experiencing a crisis, to not just say, this is who this person is, to take this snapshot of their life and not think, and sometimes I have to pause and not think that there's more to this person than what's going on right now in their life. And to be able to step back and treat that person with kindness, be able to show them that there are people that care. They may have family or a relationship that they're not getting that. And for someone to show up and be able to be kind, to be able to show love, then I hope that that helps them maybe realize, if I take the time, that there are people that will listen, there are people that do care, there are people that do show kindness, especially when I am, or we are called to help the same people over and over. Is we, like I talked about earlier, we do have that relationship. And I think that the more often that we have this contact with some of these people in our community that are experiencing crises where they need somebody to show up and show kindness, then they may eventually, and sometimes it may not happen immediately, but I think if we continue to show up and show kindness and maybe show them a direction that they can say, if this person, this kind of stranger, but maybe that they've, we've started a relationship, if they can show me this kindness, then the other person in my life that isn't doing that, that maybe I can work towards a healthier relationship. And I do believe that if I'm showing this kindness and listening to, these people in our community, that they're going to do the same, that they're going to show kindness.
Are you surprised when they show kindness to you? Or do they ever?
Yes, of course. Absolutely. It can be just a straightforward, I appreciate what you do. Or it can just be the conversation that we're having that they don't need to say it. I can just tell.
How does your faith teach you to respond differently when you encounter people you disagree with?
I try not to always be right. That I'm going into a situation with an open heart, an open mind, and if someone may disagree with either what I have to say or maybe some suggestions that I'm making, that now's not the time to be right. It's the time to show kindness, and I need to listen more than I need to be right.
What helps you move from criticism to compassion? That's got to be a big one in your job.
Yes, absolutely. I think that when I have gone to some of the same calls and trying to help some of the same people, and either I've maybe offered some solutions or offered some services, and it's just kind of like this cyclical relationship that I'm not able to help them. Which, I mean, that's a lot of why I got into law enforcement, is trying to help people. And when I can't, then I can struggle with that. So I can be cynical sometimes, especially seeing a lot of the hurt that some individuals have experienced, especially seeing some people that have hurt other people, and the backpack kind of gets fuller and fuller of. And I think that taking a pause and concentrating on what I can do to help the individual, and not necessarily focusing on the emotional part of it. Like I said, keeping an open heart and an open mind.
What has God taught you about extending grace that you might need yourself?
I have quite a few examples of extending grace. But I think in general, I can kind of give an example, and that may be initiating a traffic stop for somebody that may be speeding, and I find out through a little bit more investigating that there might be a couple of other minor infractions, and I do have some discretion with those kind of interactions. Maybe this person, they need grace. I don't need to issue hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of tickets. This person may be running late to work. They might have a couple of car seats in the back of the car. They're going to a job interview. All of these things have happened. I've had experience with people that are just going through life, and sometimes life is not easy. And I'm not going to make it any more difficult for somebody that is trying to do the best that they can, and no one is perfect, and people make mistakes, and I can turn some, maybe potentially a bad interaction with someone into a learning experience, showing them grace, and a lot of the times listening to them too. I think I receive grace similarly. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I do work a lot, and when I come home, I can be worn out. I can be tired, and my wife is my best friend. She is a perfect partner for me, and I may have showed grace to other people throughout the day, and when I come home, like, she can show it more than I have. She is a great listener, and her doing that, and she's so good at it, her doing that with me, just, it makes me a better person, and it makes me be able to show grace that much more.